Okay, so hi everybody. I hope everybody is well. We are Wednesday, of course, and we are going to do our second special of a second series. Okay, you remember last week we spoke about the manual in architecture, and I didn't have time. I mean, the video was already long enough to talk about Luis de Camoes. So today I'm going to do a short video about Luis de Camoes, which is such a central figure in the discoveries and in the overall history of Portugal. So today I want to go through the extraordinary personality of Luis de Camoes, born in 1524 and he died in 1580 at the age of 56. So right in the 16th century. It's really thanks to him that we know so much about the golden age of the Portuguese voyage. So it's such an important figure, and he's everywhere in Lisbon when you walk around. There are passage, there are streets of his name. So who was he? I mean, Luis de Camoes belonged to a family originated from the northern Portuguese region of Chaves, near Galicia. At an early age, his father Simão Vaz, left his family to pursue personal riches in India, only to die in Goa in the following year. So Luis de Camoes was already faced with India. And his mother later remarried. I mean, his mother was an important figure in his life. Luis de Camoes lived a semi-privileged life and was educated by Dominicans and Jesuits. For a period, due to his familial relations, he attended the very famous and important University of Coimbra. He frequently had access to exclusive literature, including classical Greek, Roman, and Latin works. He read Latin, Italian, and wrote poetry in Spanish. So he was a very, very educated man coming from a good background family. Camoes, as his love of poetry can attest, was a romantic and idealist. On the other hand, and that's the other side of his personality, he also had a passionate nature and was often in trouble. And you will see that will guide all his life. So first he was banished from court. He enlisted in the militia and set sail for Ceuta in North Africa in 1547, then only 23 years old, that's where he lost an eye during a battle with the Moors. He eventually returned to Lisbon in 1551, so 4 years later, a completely changed man living a bohemian lifestyle. A year later, during the religious festival of Corpus Christi, he injured a member of the royal stables and was imprisoned. To be released, Camoes was ordered to pay 4,000 reis and serve 3 years in the militia in the Orient. And here his mother was very influential to get his release under those conditions, which can be quite tough. But I mean, at this age, 3 years in the militia in the Orient, what an adventure. He departed in 1553 for Goa on board the São Bento. The ship arrived 6 months later, and in Goa he studied local customs and mastered the local geography and history. On his first expedition in India then, he joined a battle along the Malabar coast. He joined a battle along the Malabar coast, and that battle was followed by skirmishes along the trading routes between Egypt and India. The fleet eventually returned to Goa in November 1554. During his time ashore, he continued his writing as well as writing correspondence for the uneducated men of the fleet. At the end of his obligatory service, so at the end of the 3 years, he was given the position of chief warrant officer in Macau. So he decided to stay in that region, and he went to Macau in quite an important position. He was charged with managing the properties of missing and deceased soldiers in the Orient. And it is really during that time that he started to work on his epic poem, de Lusiadas, aux Lusiadas. Then he was later accused of misappropriation and had to travel back to Goa to respond to the accusation in the tribunal. And it is during his return journey near the Mekong River along the Cambodian coast that he was shipwrecked, saving his manuscript but losing his Chinese lover Dinamen. His shipwreck survival in the Mekong Delta was enhanced by the legendary detail that he succeeded in swimming ashore while holding aloft the manuscript of his still unfinished epic. And there are lots of paintings, lots of paintings of that. You see Luis de Camoes on the beach holding his manuscript, just having survived that terrible storm. That experience will give the vibrant power of its subsequent poem. His poem, a unique record of the discoveries, tells the extraordinary voyage of Vasco da Gama to India and recounts events and legends from Portuguese history. Camoes then finally returned to Lisbon in 1570, when 2 years later his poem was published in 1572, and that was only 8 years before he was to die. In recompense, in reward for his poem and also for his services in the Far East, he was granted a small royal pension by the young and ill-fated King Sebastian, who ruled Portugal between 1557 to 1578. And that's the King Sebastian is the legendary history. Well, here we go. I mean, 1578, Luis de Camoes heard of the appalling defeat of the Battle of Alcácer Quibir. We will get back to this episode in the third series, where the King Sebastian was killed and the Portuguese army destroyed. And actually, the corpse, the body of the king was never found. Which, you know, people say his ghost is still living, and but yeah, his body was never found. And he was pretty young, King Sebastian. The Castilian troops, so the Portuguese were completely the army was destroyed in the Battle of Alcácer Quibir, which will, you know, bring back the Spanish in Portugal, which we will see in our third series. So the Castilian troops were approaching Lisbon when Camoes wrote, "All will see that so dear to me was my country that I was content to die, not only in it, but with it." I mean, that's... Camoes, Luis de Camoes died in Lisbon in 1580 at the age of 56, and the day of his death, 10th of June, is Portugal National Day. He's buried near Vasco da Gama in the Jerónimo Monastery in Belém, in Lisbon. So that's certainly, you know, a monument that you have to visit while you are here. So that's it. That's about Luis de Camoes. Fascinating personality, which I didn't know very much about. I mean, of course, I knew the name, but I didn't know he was coming from quite a healthy family, and all his adventure in India. That's pretty amazing. So next week we'll finish the second series with our last special about the fact that Portugal not only went to India, but they also went really far east, you know, up to China and Japan. And I want to say a little bit about that, because this is a story that we don't know much about. Okay, so hope you enjoy as usual. Like the video, subscribe, click the subscribe button on the YouTube channel, visit www.lisbonnaturally.com. Book your stay. I mean, you are very welcome here, and as I repeat, you know, this is the best time. The autumn for me is the best time, with Christmas as well. Okay, hope you enjoy, and we'll see each other again next week. Okay, thanks, bye.